Welcome to Inspire Daily. We're so glad you're here. At Inspire Daily, our mission is simple: to motivate, uplift, and empower you to reach your full potential. Whether you're looking for daily inspiration, tips for personal growth, or the encouragement to keep pushing forward, you've come to the right place. Join us every day for fresh, empowering content designed to help you overcome challenges, achieve your goals, and become the best version of yourself. Remember, every day is a new opportunity for growth, and we're here to help you make the most of it. Subscribe now and let's inspire each other to create the life we've always dreamed of.
You ever feel like the world just keeps throwing curveballs like nonstop? It's a lot, right?
It really is.
That's why today we are diving into resilience. Like, how do we not just survive all these curveballs, but how do we actually get better because of them?
I love that.
We're looking at the Building Resilience in Tough Times podcast episode, and let me tell you, it is packed with good stuff.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, what does resilience actually even mean? Because it's more than just being tough, right?
Absolutely. Think of it less like you're trying to be an impenetrable fortress and more like you're a flexible bamboo forest.
Oh, I like
So
that.
you're bending with the wind, you weather those storms, you still come out standing tall.
Okay, that's a great analogy. So it's less about brute force and more about adaptability, like being able to adjust and even thrive when things change.
Exactly. And, you are constantly soaking up new knowledge, you're tackling new challenges. Resilience is key for navigating that world.
Yeah, and I need all the help I can get.
Right.
This Building Resilience podcast, they actually highlighted 5 key characteristics of resilient people. And I'm not going to lie, they presented it like the blueprint for basically leveling up your inner strength.
I love that.
The first 2 were like emotional awareness and optimism, and they really kind of jumped out at me. But how do those 2 even work together? Because they seem kind of different.
That's such a good point. They do seem different, but it's like they're 2 sides of the same coin.
Okay.
So emotional awareness is about, tuning into your feelings, the good, the bad, all of it. It's about realizing, hey, I am feeling super stressed, or wow, I'm overwhelmed, but not letting those feelings completely dictate all your actions.
So it's like you're hitting the pause button on your brain before the thoughts kind of spiral out of control.
Yes, exactly. And then that's where optimism comes in, right?
Yeah.
So it's approaching those challenging emotions that you're having with a sense of hope, with a belief that things can get better and they will get better. It's not about denying the negative, but it's about recognizing that, hey, this is not permanent.
So it's like, okay, this is tough. I'm not gonna lie, this is tough. But I've handled tough things before, and I can find a way through this too.
Exactly. And those 2 characteristics, emotional awareness, optimism, they actually set the stage for all the other resilience building skills. It all builds on those.
Oh wow,
They're like the foundation. They're like the roots.
they're like the roots, the grounding force. This is already making me think about how I approach challenges so differently.
Yeah.
But is resilience something we are born with, or can we actually learn it? Can we build it over time?
Ooh, this is where the cool science comes in.
Okay.
And this podcast actually talked about that no, it's not predetermined, like you're not stuck with the hand you're dealt. You can actually build your resilience muscles.
Oh, that is good to know. That is seriously good news.
Yeah.
So how does that work? What is the science behind that kind of transformation?
Well, they went into a few things, but the one that was really cool was neuroplasticity. It's a mouthful,
It is.
but it basically means our brains are wired for change. They're incredibly adaptable.
Okay, neuroplasticity. I've heard that before. But give me a refresher. What does that actually look like in practice?
Think of it like, learning a new language. At first, you start, it's clunky, it's awkward. But as you practice, you're creating those neural pathways in your brain. It becomes more fluid. It becomes more natural.
Right.
So neuroplasticity means our brains are capable of those same kinds of transformations, but in how we respond to stress, how we bounce back from challenges.
So with consistent effort, we can actually rewire our brains,
Yeah.
make them more resilient. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? Because it can't just be wishful thinking.
No, definitely not. It takes more than just wishing for it. They actually gave some really cool strategies in the podcast. I think the ones that really stuck with me and that really kind of connect with that whole neuroplasticity thing are mindfulness and then cultivating a growth mindset.
Mindfulness, growth mindset, those are 2 things I feel like I hear everywhere. But I'll be honest, sometimes I struggle to see how they actually translate into real life.
Right.
So can we break those down? Like, what do those actually look like in practice?
Yeah.
Especially for someone who is, always trying to learn something new, always jumping into a new experience.
Let's start with mindfulness.
Okay.
It's really all about hitting the pause button on that constant, mental chatter we all have and just bringing your attention to the present moment. No judgment.
Okay.
So it's like you're pressing pause on your to-do list that's always running in the back of your mind, and you're choosing to just be present
Okay.
with whatever it is you're doing.
So let's say I'm trying to learn how to code, right, which I am, and I hit this wall and I start getting frustrated. Being mindful in that moment would be acknowledging, okay, this is frustrating, without letting it spiral into, oof, I'm never going to get this.
Exactly. And, the more you practice mindfulness, whether it's through meditation or deep breathing, or even just taking a few moments to really tap into your senses, the stronger those neural pathways associated with emotional regulation actually become. It's like you're building mental muscle memory for staying grounded when things get tough.
So it's not about getting rid of the stress. It's not about getting rid of the challenges. It's about changing how we respond to them.
Yes. Exactly. And that leads perfectly into cultivating that growth mindset, which is really all about, again, how do we view these challenges we're facing? Do we see them as these huge roadblocks, or are they opportunities to learn and grow?
And this is kind of making me think about some of the people that they mentioned, the inspiring figures like J.K. Rowling, who got tons of rejections for the Harry Potter books.
Totally. Growth mindset doesn't mean you're not going to fail. In fact, it embraces those setbacks, but it sees them as stepping stones. It's about looking at a challenge, and instead of being like, I can't do this, it's, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to make me better, improve my skills or approach things differently next time?
So a resilient person, they see that setback as a chance to kind of level up, add a new tool to their toolkit.
Exactly. They even said, try this. The next time you have a challenge, reframe it in your mind as an opportunity for growth or an area for development. And it sounds so simple, but just shifting that language can really start to shift your mindset over time.
It's like training your brain to see those curveballs, and instead of getting struck out, you hit a home run.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. This is making me think about building a support system as another tool in that resilience toolkit, because you were saying how it's not a solo mission.
It's so important, and the podcast really emphasized this. Strong relationships, they're key. We're social creatures. We need that support system to navigate, all the ups and downs.
So it's not just having people there to celebrate when things are good, but it's also having those people there when you're like, this is really hard, and they could help you reframe that challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. They were even talking about how being around people who uplift you, they challenge you to grow, they offer different perspectives, it actually can boost your resilience. Think of it like you're building a resilient safety net.
Oh.
The stronger those connections, the softer you land when those inevitable falls happen.
This is really making me think about all those people who have faced just crazy challenges and they come out even stronger. They talked about a bunch of them in the podcast.
It's amazing, right?
Like J.K. Rowling, Nelson Mandela, Oprah.
Wow.
They all have these incredible stories of resilience.
It's easy to hear those stories and think, well, they're just wired differently. But it's no, it's in all of us.
Yeah.
It's a very human thing.
It's not that they're superhuman. It's just that they're tapping into something that we all have.
Exactly.
And they've used the same tools.
Yes.
Mindfulness, growth mindset, strong relationships.
It's not about comparing. It's okay, what can we learn?
Yeah, exactly.
How can we apply that in our own lives?
And one of the examples, this one really, really stood out, was Nelson Mandela.
Oh my gosh, yes.
27 years in prison.
I can't even imagine.
And to come out of that, not bitter, but with this vision of healing, of reconciliation.
Powerful.
What can we even learn from that? Because most of us, thankfully, are never going to have to face anything like that.
It's such a good point. And I think what's so powerful about his story and so many others is that, resilience, it's not about having this perfect life, because none of us do. It's really about how you go through it, how you navigate those messy parts. It's about finding, those little glimmers of hope, that strength inside of you, even when things are hard. And a lot of times that comes from remembering we're not alone.
Right.
Reaching out.
Yes.
Holding on to that hope that it's going to get better.
It all comes back to those connections.
Yes.
Having that community that can support you.
It makes such a difference.
This whole deep dive has been we're building a resilience toolkit.
I love that.
We've talked about emotional awareness,
Mm.
optimism, mindfulness, growth mindset. We talked about relationships. And we even touched on the science behind it all. Like, our brains can literally change.
Your brain is incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
And what I'm taking from this is that it's a journey.
it is.
It's not like you arrive at, okay, I'm resilient, I'm done.
It's those small choices we make every day.
Yes. And those little choices add up.
They do.
So as you're going into your week, just remember, resilience is a journey. It's not a destination.
You've got this.
You've got this. This has been awesome.
So good.
Thank you so much for joining us as we kind of dug into this whole world of resilience. Now go out there and embrace those curveballs
Yes.
because you got this.
Yeah.
And if you need anything, you know where to find us.